So right now, Jabra is in the middle of refreshing their truly wireless earbud lineup. Now, personally, I like the Elite 3s and the Jabra Elite 7 Pros, but I gotta say the Jabra Elite 85Ts are still my favorite earbuds to recommend, especially if active noise cancellation is very important to you. Nonetheless, if you're trying to choose between any of Jabra's earbuds, let's see which one's right for you.
Now regarding pricing, the Elite 3s are Jabra's entry-level earbuds, and when I say entry-level, I mean entry-level because these things retail for $80. Then there are the Jabra Elite 7 Pros, which retail for $200, and then there are the Jabra Elite 85Ts, which retail for $230. However, since these are the oldest earbuds here, they can typically be found on sale for around $180 or if not less. Nonetheless, if you want to pick any of these earbuds up, they'll be linked down below. And if you want to further support the channel, check out the merch shelf down below. I've made some shirts and hoodies that look and feel great. And if you've been watching me for a while, you know I can be very particular. So I'll only set my name on something that I'm really proud of. Now first, let's talk about these cases. Now all of these earbuds have decently small cases for everyday carry, and they're all easy enough to handle, which is something that couldn't be said about Jabra's older earbuds case because some of their cases were a pain to open. But not these. Now both the Elite 3s and Elite 7 Pros have roughly the same case sizes. They have roughly the same footprint and they have roughly the same thickness. Whereas the Elite 85T's case is a little taller, but nonetheless, I would say that all three of these cases are in the same wheelhouse. However, when compared to any pair of AirPods, all of Jabra's cases are noticeably larger. They have larger footprints and are noticeably thicker. But when compared to other options, like let's say either the Galaxy Buds 2's case, Galaxy Buds Pro's case, or Sony WF-1000XM4's case, all of Jabra's cases are in the same league. However, when compared to let's say the Beats Studio Buds, Beats Fit Pro, or Sennheiser CX Plus, all of Jabra's cases are noticeably smaller. So overall, all of Jabra's cases are decently small, and there isn't a singular outlier with the smallest case here. But if you are an iPhone user and case size is very important to you because of convenience, then AirPods are still your best bet.
Now, when it comes to battery life, Jabra's earbuds are pretty good. Now, the Jabra Elite 85Ts have an advertised combined battery life of 25 hours with their active noise cancellation turned on. And if you were to use them with their active noise cancellation turned off, you should be able to squeeze out a combined battery life of 31 hours. Not bad at all, and in general, the Jabra Elite 85Ts have average battery life when compared to the rest of their direct competitors. Then there are the Jabra Elite 3s, which have an advertised combined battery life of 28 hours, which is rather impressive for a pair of entry-level earbuds. The earbuds themselves can go for 7 straight hours, and the case can supply 3 additional charges. However, just keep in mind, these earbuds don't have active noise cancellation. They have an ambient mode, but no active noise cancellation. And then there are the Jabra Elite 7 Pros, which have an advertised combined battery life of 30 hours with their active noise cancellation turned on, which is above average when compared to its direct competitors. The earbuds themselves can go for 8 straight hours, and the case can supply 3 additional charges. And just like the 85Ts, if you were to use the Elite 7 Pros with active noise cancellation turned off, you should be able to extend their battery life even more. Now, when it comes to charging these earbuds, all of these cases charge via a USB-C port as they should. However, only the Elite 7 Pros and Elite 85Ts have wireless charging, whereas the entry-level Elite 3s don't. Now, personally, I don't really care for wireless charging on my earbuds, but wireless charging is now becoming a rather standard feature that we expect to see from our earbuds once we get to the Elite 7 Pros and Elite 85Ts price range.
But now let's talk about fit, because the 85Ts fit very differently from these other two earbuds. Now both the Elite 3s and Elite 7 Pros fit the same, and they both fit like your standard pair of in-ear earbuds, as in they go into your ear canal a decent amount, like let's say the Galaxy Buds 2 or Sennheiser CX Plus. Now you can definitely wear these earbuds for a good long while without any discomfort, but these earbuds can feel a little intrusive when compared to the Elite 85Ts. Now the Jabra Elite 85Ts are a pair of shallow fitting in-ear earbuds, like let's say the AirPods Pro, Beats Studio Buds, or Galaxy Buds Pro, as in they don't go in super deep into your ear canal. Combined with their more oval ear tips, the 85Ts feel much more natural than the Elite 3s or Elite 7 Pros. And I feel that they do a better job of staying in place than the AirPods Pro. Now, in general, I would recommend all of these earbuds for casual use because these earbuds can wiggle out fairly easily if you're working out. But overall, I do have to say that the Jabra Elite 85Ts fit much more comfortably and naturally than these other two earbuds, and in general, the Jabra Elite 85Ts are among one of my favorite fitting earbuds.
But now let's talk about connectivity because there are some major nuances here. Now, Jabra's newer earbuds like the Jabra Elite 3s or Elite 7 Pros each establish a connection with your phone. So if you just want to use one earbud at a time, you can use either one. It doesn't matter. And this is the connection setup that we expect to see from our earbuds nowadays. Whereas with the Jabra Elite 85Ts, these earbuds are still using a hero and sidekick setup, meaning that one earbud, the hero earbud, in this case the right earbud, actually establishes a connection with your phone and then relays that connection over to the left earbud. So if you just want to use one earbud at a time, you got to use the correct earbud, or in this case, the right earbud, the hero earbud. Now there's nothing wrong with earbuds that are still using a hero and sidekick setup, but earbuds that are still using a hero and sidekick setup these days are either just older or just cheaper. However, the standout characteristics of Jabra's earbuds that are still using a hero and sidekick setup, like the 85Ts, is that they can be simultaneously connected to any two devices at the same time, regardless of operating system. So you can easily hot swap between two devices, regardless of ecosystem. So this is great if you're a power user that has multiple devices from different ecosystems. So for example, let's say you have an Android device, let's say a Pixel 6, and you've got an iPad, you're going to be able to still be simultaneously connected to them, and you're going to be able to hot swap between the two devices, which is very convenient. Whereas with both the Elite 3s and Elite 7 Pros, they can only be connected to one device at a time. However, as of December 2021, Jabra does promise that the Elite 7 Pros will be getting a firmware update in January 2022, which is going to get them Bluetooth multi-point connectivity, meaning that these earbuds are going to be able to be connected to two devices at the same time. So you're going to be able to hot swap between two devices, just like how you can with the 85Ts. Which I really feel is great for power users that don't limit themselves to just one ecosystem. Now personally, I really do hope that Jabra delivers, and I really do think that they will. But unfortunately, there is no mention of the Elite 3s getting this upgrade. But when it comes to performance, all of these earbuds have zero latency across the board when watching movies or videos on your phone, whether you're using an iPhone or an Android device. But when it comes to audio codecs, things get a little strange here. Now, both the Elite 7 Pros and 85Ts have support for SBC and AAC, whereas the entry-level Elite 3s have support for SBC and aptX. Now, usually you would expect that the more premium earbuds here would have aptX, but they don't. Now, AAC works perfectly fine on both the Elite 7 Pros and 85Ts, but I do find it rather strange that the Elite 3s are the only earbuds here that have aptX.
But now let's talk about actually listening to music with these earbuds. Now, in general, I have always recommended Jabra's earbuds to people who like a warmer sound signature, because these earbuds do like to put an emphasis on the bass, and they aren't the most spacious sounding earbuds out there. And that definitely applies to both the Elite 3s and Elite 85Ts. However, with the Elite 85Ts, I noticed that their bass resonates and hits a little harder, and their treble doesn't get as tinny as the Elite 3s. So the Elite 85Ts and Elite 3s have the same characteristics, but the 85Ts have the overall better performance because their bass is richer and the treble is much cleaner. Now, both of these earbuds have a few preset EQ settings that you can choose from. However, with the Elite 3s, you can't actually make your own like you can with these other two earbuds. And personally, I do find that rather strange. But overall, Yes, the Elite 85Ts sound better than the Elite 3s. But then there are the Jabra Elite 7 Pros, which sound very different. Unlike the Elite 85Ts, the Elite 7 Pros don't sound as shallow, which is good. And these earbuds are putting much more of an emphasis on the mids, so vocals are more pronounced. Now, these earbuds have a decent amount of bass and they should satiate most people, but these earbuds don't have as much bass as the Elite 85Ts or Elite 3s. But I also can't help but notice that the bass on the Elite 7 Pros is better controlled because it doesn't roll off and interfere with the rest of your music like with the 85Ts or Elite 3s. But also, the treble on the Elite 7 Pros has better clarity to it as well. So overall, I would say the Elite 7 Pros sound better than the Elite 85Ts because they don't sound as shallow. And I would also recommend the Elite 7 Pros to someone who likes a more neutral or vocals-focused EQ. Now, when it comes to controlling your media, all of these earbuds have physical buttons, and this could actually be a deciding factor for some people. Some people just don't want to have to deal with touchpads on their earbuds. Now, you can do all of your basic stuff like play or pause your music, skip through your music, raise or lower the volume, and activate your voice assistant of choice. However, with the Elite 3s, you can't customize the layout of your buttons like you can with these other two earbuds. I know it's a very small detail, but it could be crucial for some people who plan on using just one earbud at a time.
And I also got to point out that the Elite 3s don't have proximity sensors like these other two earbuds. So unfortunately, with the Elite 3s, they aren't going to automatically play or pause your music when you take them out of your ears or put them back in. And personally, I do feel that this is a major inconvenience, and it is one of those features that you miss when you don't have it anymore. But given that the Elite 3s are a pair of entry-level earbuds, I can let them slide here. But now let's talk about the active noise cancellation on these earbuds. Now, the Elite 3s don't have active noise cancellation, but these other two earbuds do. Now, in general, Jabra does active noise cancellation on their earbuds very well, and both the Elite 85Ts and Elite 7 Pros rank very well as well. However, just don't go expecting these earbuds to block out as much noise as a proper pair of over-ear ANC headphones, like let's say the Bose NC700, Sony 1000 XM4s, and especially the AirPod Max. Now, when it comes to overall ranking, the Sony WF-1000 XM4s block out the most amount of noise here, albeit they do have an advantage because of their itchy foam ear tips. Right below them are the Jabra Elite 85Ts, which also block out a ton of noise while being more comfortable, so personally I do prefer them. Below them are the AirPods Pro and Sennheiser Momentum 2s, which I feel are neck and neck. Right below them are the Jabra Elite 7 Pros. Right below them are the Beats Fit Pro. That's a bit of a confusing name. And right below them are the Galaxy Buds Pro. Now, below the Galaxy Buds Pro are the Jabra Elite 75Ts. Below them are the Beats Studio Buds. Below them are the Galaxy Buds 2. And below them are the Sennheiser CX Plus. So overall, Jabra's earbuds rank very well, and personally, the Jabra Elite 85Ts are still one of my favorite earbuds to recommend, especially if active noise cancellation is very important to you. They block out a ton of noise without getting super uncomfortable like the Sony WF-1000 XM4s, and unlike Bose's earbuds, the Jabra Elite 85Ts have a much more manageable case. But like I mentioned in the past, I only use the active noise cancellation on my earbuds when I have to, and what's really important to me is the quality of their ambient mode. Now, all of these earbuds have an ambient mode, even the Elite 3s, and the ambient mode on all of these earbuds is usable. However, I am going to have to say that the Elite 85Ts have the best, most natural sounding ambient mode here, whereas the ambient mode on the Elite 7 Pros does need work. The ambient mode on the Elite 7 Pros does like to amplify a lot of noise pollution. Now, you can adjust the ambient mode on both the Elite 85Ts and Elite 7 Pros to your liking, whereas with the Elite 3s, you can't. Now, the ambient mode on the Elite 3s is good, but it could be a touch too quiet for some people. But overall, I do prefer the Elite 3's ambient mode over the Elite 7 Pro's ambient mode. It just sounds a little more natural for some reason, but in general, Jabra's ambient mode could use some work. But finally, here's the microphone test. Now, in general, Jabra's earbuds don't have the best sounding microphones out there for phone calls. They can sound a little shallow for my taste. However, while in a quiet room, they are usable. However, I do feel that the Elite 7 Pros do a slightly better job of focusing on your voice than the Elite 85Ts. And then there are the Jabra Elite 3s, which sound a little brighter, which personally I do prefer. Now, when it comes to blocking out ambient noise, personally I feel the Elite 3s do the best job of dealing with noise pollution. Now, you can definitely hear a noticeable amount of road noise in the background, but the Elite 3s do a really good job of elevating your voice, very similar to how the AirPods Pro or entry-level AirPods do it. Whereas with the Elite 7 Pros, even though they are trying to block out more road noise than the Elite 3s, there is still a lot of interference in the background, which can be more distracting than the constant road noise found on the Elite 3s. But then there are the Jabra Elite 85Ts, which are trying to block out this road noise, but my voice does sound like it's getting pushed down. Now, when it comes to blocking out chatter, the Elite 85Ts do a little better, but there is still some interference in the background. And with the Elite 7 Pros, they are trying to block out this chatter, but there is a noticeable amount of interference in the background. But finally, here are the Jabra Elite 3s. Now, even though you can hear a decent amount of chatter in the background, they do the best job here of elevating your voice. And personally, I feel it's easier to understand me with these earbuds. So overall, all of Jabra's earbuds are decent enough to take phone calls while in a quieter room. But if you need to take phone calls while in a noisier environment, you might want to go with the Elite 3s, which is a little ironic.
So with all that being said, if you're trying to choose between any of Jabra's earbuds, here's my breakdown. The Jabra Elite 3s are a solid pair of entry-level earbuds. They have a small case with a long combined battery life of 28 hours, they have an ambient mode, and they have a decent sounding microphone for phone calls. The Jabra Elite 85Ts are definitely still worth picking up if active noise cancellation is very important to you. These things are up there with the Sony WF-1000XM4s, but they're way more comfortable, and that's why I prefer them. And then there are the Jabra Elite 7 Pros, which also have very impressive active noise cancellation, but they have a much more balanced sound to them than the 85Ts. The Jabra Elite 7 Pros offer all the features that you'd want from a pair of premium ANC earbuds, but I feel their ambient mode needs work. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit the like button and get subscribed. If you want to pick any of the products up, they'll be linked down below. And if you want to further support the channel, check out the merch. I made some shirts and hoodies that look and feel great. And you know, I can be very particular, so I'll only slap my name on something that I'm really proud of.